for more details on 0913 156 5016. 0812-794-9323 or 0815-508-8279 or visit our social media pages. Cast Prints, digital printing at super speed.
From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital,
Meteorological Agency is cautioning individuals with asthma and other respiratory issues to be cautious as hazy and dusty weather has been forecast in the north and over coastal cities of Delta, Bayelsa and River State in the afternoon and evening periods beginning today. Consultant pulmonologist at Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Ogochukwu Ekete, explained what susceptible people can do in addition to avoiding triggers. She was speaking in an interview with Channels Television.
Asthmatics should be on their controller, but on controller medication, most importantly at this time, because the weather currently supports a kind of pollens and molds being transported a very long distance. And these are obviously things that can kind of aggravate or what we call exacerbate the asthma condition. So one who is on a controller medication like inhaled steroid, which is actually the standard of care, it's likely to have less of this exacerbation. And in addition to this, to also have their reliever medication too, should they have symptoms. They will have something, a kind of first aid close to them before they get to the hospital. Even though also part of the process is you also identify those things that also bring on your symptoms and you want to stay away from them.
Meanwhile, here in Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has inaugurated 4 infrastructure projects initiated by the Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila. While unveiling the projects, Governor Sanwo-Olu explains that the state and federal governments are working towards scaling up medical research and training to stem the issue of brain drain in the health sector. Mr. Gbajabiamila, on his part, appeals to Nigerians to be patient with the federal government in addressing the nation's economic downturn.
This healthcare facility is one of the infrastructure projects delivered by the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila. The 3-story, 8-bed remodeled health infrastructure located in Surulere, former Speaker's constituency, is fully equipped with all necessary equipment to address any health challenge. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, joined the Chief of Staff to the President to hand over the facility to the people, where he also announced the state government's plans to stem the tide of brain drain in the health sector.
We've seen development in tertiary institution, education. We've seen development in infrastructure on road. We've seen development in youth empowerment, in social integration, in sporting facility. We've seen development in health. What more collaboration can we ask for? What more engagement can we ask for in people's governance? And they've said to us that this is a first-class facility that will take care of various health issues and health challenges. And I'm indeed excited and happy that we're beginning to resolve all of the challenges that we have in that sector. Thank you very much for this intervention.
The facilitator of the project, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, says the hospital will help raise capacity in attending to public health emergencies in Lagos.
I am proud that we have constructed over 250 roads in selected federal constituencies in the state. Advances in medical health services and technology have made it possible for people to survive previously unsurvivable diagnoses. For those of us who serve in the government, our primary objective must be to ensure that citizens have access to quality healthcare services offered by professionals in environments conducive to recuperation, healing, and recovery.
That's not all. The project is a conference center constructed in Lagos State University.
I have long realized the importance of education. I've always believed that an uneducated generation is a wasted generation. So I want us to see this building as an investment in our country's future. No amount of money, I believe, can be too much for education of our youth.
The Vice-Chancellor expresses her gratitude to the government.
This facility is a critical infrastructural intervention at this time when our need for conducive spaces to carry out administrative and academic engagement continues to grow as our staff and students' population increase. It is therefore a welcome addition to our infrastructural facilities.
Other projects donated by the former speaker include the 1.6-kilometer Babs Animashan Road in Surulere, redesigned from a single lane to a dualized 4-lane carriageway, as well as the Sam Shonibare Community Development Center, which is equipped with a mini stadium, among other outdoor facilities also in Surulere.
In another health matter, nurses at the Federal Medical Center at Abeokuta have protested against an alleged exclusion from the 2023 promotion carried out in the institution and heavy workload for the nurses at the center. The nurses, under the aegis of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, also expressed displeasure over what they described as harsh working conditions, requesting the management of the hospital to address these issues. The head of clinical services, Kunle Adediran, appealed to the protesters to be calm and assured them that management is working on their demands. The Niger Delta Development Commission, the NDDC, says beginning this year, the agency will be deploying technology in the delivery of projects to ensure quality projects and guide against duplication of projects across the Niger Delta region. The NDDC Managing Director, Samuel Ogbuku, who announced this during an interactive session with journalists at the Commission headquarters in Port Harcourt, says already the Commission's IT and Innovation Department is working with the Project Monitoring and Supervision Directorate to ensure effective takeoff.
Across the 9 mandate states of the Niger Delta Development Commission are signature projects of the interventionist agency to meet the development needs of the people. While some of the projects have been completed and are currently in use, others, like the Port Harcourt-Okrika Bridge, are awaiting completion. With the huge infrastructural deficit in the Niger Delta, the NDDC says it is taking extra steps to ensure that its projects and other interventions in the region stand the test of time.
IT and Innovation Department is also working with the PMS and UIDW to see that all our projects, both ongoing and stalled projects, anywhere they are, these projects are geotagged so that we can sit down here and see all our projects where they are, so that nobody can talk about duplication of projects.
The Project Monitoring and Supervision Directorate is going hard on contractors to ensure that project specifications are meticulously followed.
We have defined hold points. We had a retreat here in project monitoring and we have defined project hold points. What we mean is that if a contractor finishes a scope or a particular part of his project, we will look at it before it progresses into the other scope. For projects that do not have resident supervision, for the ones that have nominal supervision. So we are insisting that you will hold on until we see what you have done before you progress to the next level. So we have defined hold points for all of these projects, which we have just begun to implement.
To guard against abandoned and stalled projects, the NDDC Managing Director says the Commission is mindful of embarking on new projects, saying the current management is defining each project circle with adequate budgetary provision.
For proposing new projects, we're also looking at not carrying out too many new projects. So we just want to carry out few projects in the states that we know will affect the life of the people positively. And we're looking at legacy projects that can stand out. So even if it is 2, 3, 4 per state, based on their level of contribution to the NDDC, these are the things we are looking at.
However, residents of the Niger Delta are hoping that the Commission will attach more importance to needs assessment of projects to ensure that whatever intervention is made is what is actually needed.
It would have been most expedient for them to take on assessment, going to the various communities where they are to carry out their project, to assess whether such project will answer the need of the people.
The deployment of technology in the monitoring and supervision of NDDC projects will no doubt bring about quality projects delivery.
And Melinda Kilemi standing by for the latest in the world of business.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial star 894 hash now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Many thanks, Ayotunde. Welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced that cash withdrawals will not be allowed from accounts operated for virtual and digital asset transactions, such as cryptocurrencies. The financial market regulator made this known in its latest guidelines on operations on bank accounts for virtual asset service providers. According to the Apex Bank, withdrawals from these accounts would only be available by transfer or manager's check, while no third-party check will be cleared from the account. The CBN explains that an account formed under its new standards will only be used for virtual or digital asset transactions and will not be used for any other reason. The Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, has warned that the economy will be bleak in the next 6 months if there is no significant growth across all key sectors. NECA's Director General, Mr. Adewale Smart Oyerinde, who made this known to journalists in Lagos, attributes the outlook to the impact of petrol subsidy removal and harmonization of foreign exchange, which made 2023 the most challenging year for businesses. However, the umbrella organization for employers has assured citizens that the economy will begin to show signs of growth if positive policies are implemented. Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company, Mr. Bismarck Ruwane, believes that Nigerians will have to continue to endure the pains of the reforms for at least the first few months of 2024. On our lunchtime show, Business Incorporated, Mr. Ruwane stressed that productivity and not just fiscal policies will make a difference later in the year.
There'll be more pains in the first half and before the gains begin to come in the second half of the year. Why do we say this? We believe that in the first half of the year, maybe this month, at the end of this month, the MPC will have to meet. The MPC will have to meet, and we expect a tightening of interest rates of at least 100 basis points from where it is today, right? That is required. But at the same time, there's a contradiction, because you could see that some federal government agencies are talking about lower interest rates, intervention rates, and all sorts of things. You can't make omelette without breaking eggs, and I said that on the program at the beginning of the year, that you need to understand that if inflation is at 30%, food inflation is at 32%, you need to intervene to reduce money supply saturation. You need to increase interest rates, and you need to make the economy much more productive. This is about productivity. It's not just about interest rates. Interest rates being increasing will not necessarily increase productivity. It's how you utilize the resources, how you optimize the resources, how you collaborate between the state, federal government, the government, and the private sector. How you increase the incentives, right, rather than what you see today.
With a 3.7% year-to-date performance, Nigeria's equities market broke a new record high. What a way to start the year. Willie Bong has details of today's trading activities.
Thanks, Melinda. I spoke to an analyst earlier today, and he described the NGX as a volcano about to erupt, and erupt it did. The NGX All-Share Index blasted through to the 77,000 level from 75,000 recorded in yesterday's session. Now, let's take a closer look. It's all green today. Market cap 42 trillion naira hit today, and it can't get any better than this, with Dangote Sugar, Corn Oil, Boa Foods firing on all cylinders. Now let's check out the sectors. It's really quite hot as I speak. Today, Corn Oil and O&O filled the oil and gas counter, propping it up and leading to a 1.89% gain, while Dangote Sugar and Boa Foods contributed to the positive performance seen in the consumer goods sector. Meanwhile, the banking index hit an all-time high today, rising over 6%. Now let's take a peep behind the scenes. The Tier 1 banks brought on their A game. UBA climbed today 10%, and following closely, we see Access Holdings with a 9.98% gain. It's like going back to 2008 before the crash. Now, as investors position ahead of the 2023 year-end earnings reports, the question is, will the NGX sustain this bullish sentiment? Until tomorrow, it's Will Ibang.
That's a big question, Will. Many thanks for the stock market report. Now let's see if it's also going to be a winning Wednesday or the global.
So easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Melinda. Over 100 people have been reported killed in twin blasts near the tomb of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani earlier today. Now, the incident comes on the 4th anniversary of Soleimani's assassination by the United States, the U.S. Earlier, Iranian media reported that 73 people had been killed, but the figure has since risen, according to reports from other international media. Here's Simon Pizzi with this and other international stories in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Iran's state media is reporting that at least 73 people have been killed by 2 bomb explosions near the tomb of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani on the 4th anniversary of his assassination by the United States. State broadcaster IRIB said another 171 people had been wounded when the blasts hit a procession near the Saheb al-Zaman Mosque in the southern city of Kerman. It cited Kerman's deputy governor as saying it was a terrorist attack. Hundreds of people were reportedly walking towards the tomb on Wednesday as part of a ceremony to commemorate Qasem Soleimani. He was seen as the most powerful figure in Iran after the supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The general was killed in a US drone strike in neighboring Iraq in 2020. Israel has insisted the assassination of a Hamas leader in Beirut was not an attack on Lebanon, as its enemies warned of punishment for his death. Israel has neither confirmed nor denied that it killed Salah al-Aruri, but a spokesman called it a surgical strike against the Hamas leadership. Hamas denounced it as a terrorist act, while its ally Hezbollah said it was an assault on Lebanese sovereignty. Lebanon's prime minister has accused Israel of trying to drag it into a regional war. Aruri, a deputy political leader of Hamas, was killed in the drone strike in southern Beirut on Tuesday, along with 6 others, 2 Hamas military commanders and 4 other members. Aviation experts and industry professionals have praised crew and passengers on board Flight 516 for their flawless evacuation on Tuesday. According to experts, staff on board put their rigorous training into practice with well-behaved passengers obeying safety protocols, enabling the rescue. They say the simple act of leaving valuables behind would be a major factor behind the speed of the evacuation, with the last person escaping just before the aircraft was engulfed in flames on the runway. The passenger plane burst into flames after the collision with a smaller Coast Guard aircraft on the runway at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. All 379 passengers and crew on board were evacuated. 5 of the 6 crew on the Coast Guard plane sadly died. The death toll from the 7.6 magnitude earthquake in Japan has risen to at least 64 as rescue efforts continue. Homes collapsed, buildings caught fire, and roads were extensively damaged, hindering the work of rescue services in the quake. The epicenter of the 7.6 earthquake was the Noto Peninsula in central Japan. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said that emergency services were locked in a race against time to rescue remaining survivors. Sudan's paramilitary Rapid Support Forces said it was open to an immediate unconditional ceasefire through talks with the Sudanese army as it signed a declaration with the Kakadam civilian coalition and invited the army to do the same. A 9-month war in Sudan, which now faces the world's largest displacement crisis, has devastated the country's infrastructure and prompted warnings of famine. Attempts to end the conflict through negotiations led by the United States and Saudi Arabia have so far come to nothing, and previous agreements to protect civilians have gone unheeded. Harvard University's president has resigned after facing allegations of plagiarism and criticism over her comments about anti-Semitism on campus. Claudine Gay had faced mounting pressure to step down in recent weeks. In a letter announcing her resignation, she said it was in the best interests of the university for her to go, adding that her resignation would allow Harvard to focus on the institution rather than any individual. The 53-year-old served as president for 6 months and was the first black person and the second woman to be appointed to lead the Ivy League university. Her tenure was the shortest in its 388-year history. And a horror comedy film that features Mickey Mouse as the villain has released its trailer on the exact same day that Disney's 1928 classic Steamboat Willie became public domain. Mickey's Mousetrap is not the first film to use a public domain character as a horror antagonist. Last year, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was released based on A.A. Milne's original Winnie the Pooh, which became public domain 2 years ago. This year, another Pooh character, Tigger, also joins the public domain. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon. In the world of sports, the number of players at the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria in Abu Dhabi has increased with the arrival of AC Milan forward Samuel Chukwueze and Chippa United goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali. Victor Osimhen, Francis Uzoho, Sadiq Umaru and Kelechi Iheanacho are the players still being expected in camp. Super Eagles are in Abu Dhabi for a 1-week training camp expected to last until January 9th. And Chinese football fans race to snap up tickets to see Cristiano Ronaldo play a rare match in their home country, with multiple online platforms selling out within few hours. Portuguese stars, the current club Saudi Arabia's Al Nassr, last month announced a China tour featuring friendlies against Shanghai and Zhejiang FC of the southern city of Shenzhen on January 24 and 28. In tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic suffered a frustrating fitness saga as a wrist problem led to a 6-4, 6-4 loss to Australia's Alex de Minaur in the quarterfinals of the United Cup in Perth. Djokovic, who received multiple massages on court on his troublesome wrist, hot in training 24 hours earlier, fell victim to an inspired Minaur, who lured his side into the weekend semi-finals in Sydney. Well, the Serbian produced 31 unforced errors as his 43-match win streak in Australia was ended after just 93 minutes in court. And Barcelona head coach Xavi Hernandez has called on his team to improve defensively in 2024 after a shaky start to the season. The Spanish champions are 4th ahead of Thursday's visits to face Las Palmas, 7 points behind leaders Real Madrid and Girona. Barca won La Liga thanks to the excellent defensive displays last season, conceding only 20 goals in 38 league matches, but have already shipped in 21 in 18 games this campaign. Before the winter break, Xavi was critical of his team for missing big chances, including a 4-2 home defeat by Girona and 2-0 draws to Mallorca and Granada. And that's Sports News Tonight. I am Kelly Egiga. Is back to Ayotunde.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And the main news again. The federal government today moved to extend sanctions to Uganda, Kenya and Niger Republic a day after suspending the ongoing accreditation and evaluation of degree certificates from Benin Republic and Togo. Residents of Zidu community in Abuja have appealed to President Bola Tinubu to stop the planned demolition of their houses by the Federal Housing Authority. According to them, over 1,500 families are at risk of being rendered homeless. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. You have a good night and please stay safe.